Hi, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of Catharsis. A little mellow right now. Trust me, it's not going to last. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to do this today, whatnot. For those of you unfamiliar, I'm the producer here at the Full Circle Radio Network, Joseph J. Alexander. This is my vlog, if you will. It's topical, it changes. There's no set format to what gets discussed. It's basically just an outlet to the world, depending on certain issues. Apologies for the background in the middle of early spring cleaning, so there's a little bit of clutter. Sorry about that. Perks of being a homeowner. Just got to move stuff around, looking into possibly replacing some furniture, yada yada. But last night I couldn't sleep. And I wasn't sure why. And I honestly really haven't slept. I've got maybe 45 minutes of sleep sometime between 8 and 9 a.m. this morning. There was something on my mind that I didn't know what it was. Then I looked at the calendar, and then I saw some things in my social media feeds. And I'm not here to talk about the events of yesterday. For those of you that are wondering, who are watching it as this goes up, it is January 21st, 2025. I'm not here to discuss the events of January 20th. I may do that at another time, but today is not that. I was sitting there and I was wondering why I couldn't sleep. Why? And then I was reminded when I saw the pictures. Today would have been someone very close to me's birthday. He was a friend in the sense of we weren't blood related, but he was my brother as far as being bound spiritually. As it says in my bios, I am a practicing witch. This was a member of my coven, and he passed very unexpectedly at a very young age. And he would have been 42 today. Life, the meaning, and life, the meaning of the universe, everything else. He would have hit 42. And that's my brother Derek. And there's a picture of him. That was a memorial picture that I put up when he passed. It's been 9 years. And it don't get easier. Died super young. Had a heart condition, didn't know it. Was literally standing at work, standing in a doorway, and his heart just stopped and he collapsed. And he left behind a lot of people, both blood relation and not. He has a beautiful daughter who's going off to college now. And it's just baffling because I remember when she was an infant. And I'm trying not to get choked up today, but who knows if it's going to happen. And he left behind. He was an integral part of my church. He was, I've been the president on the board of directors there for some years now. I've been a member on the executive board for much longer. I've been a member of the congregation for just a little over 20 years now. Derek was there before me. We knew each other in passing before that. But we became really close there. And like I said, he was in my coven. And for those of you that follow the traditions, that's, something like that. And, in an actual bound coven, you don't take lightly. He's the reason that I wear this pendant. There were a few of these custom made for those of us when we formed. Um, and yeah, he's the reason that I keep this and that I keep wearing it. It's worn and tattered, but I've had it repaired once because it was hand forged by a close friend. His is held on to by another person close to both of us. He was cremated. And it just, you know, it was Derek. It was D Rock's birthday, and that's why I couldn't sleep. Yeah, he was a hell of a guy. We used to have to get separated at church sometimes because we'd be like Waldorf and Statler. We would always crack a lot of jokes. He was a great person. A little flighty at times, but that's just how he was. And I thought the only way that I could really do anything was kick this on, because I know Derek would say, "What are you doing? Don't sulk." And he was also someone who knew that, you know, when Big Joe gets fired up, just let him have at it. A lot of other people will tell me I need to calm down. I need to watch my blood pressure. Yeah. No, not Derek. Derek was like, no, let him go. That's what I loved about him. He was a great dude. Loved The Princess Bride. We used to quote it back and forth, all Princess Bride and Spaceballs all day long. One thing that I kind of do in his honor that I'm doing sparingly now is my coffee today. I have less than, but a little while back, I bought a pound of coffee from a coffee shop. There used to be this little chain in New England called the Whole Donut. There's a picture. They were, you know, they used to be all over. They were bigger than Dunkin' in the 80s. They were one of those spots where you could go, you could buy your donuts and coffee, and you could buy cigarettes there too, and you could smoke inside. On some of them, like the one that's literally, the location is now a Dunkin', which sucks, but it's around the corner from where I bought my house. And the picture I just showed you, that was the one that was always open. Like that was like a 20-minute drive away, but it would be open super late. And I need to find out who they got their coffee, who their wholesale supplier was from, because they're all gone now. The final one closed. The one I pictured there was the second to last one, and it closed a few months back. But, you know, all of us, you know, every single one of us, like, you know, we had memories of sitting with Derek, drinking coffee, smoking at the Whole Donut. And so I had Whole Donut coffee that I bought a pound that's in my freezer. And every once in a while, on the right occasion, I make a batch. And I toasted Derek. And it's, you know, it's nothing special. It's not like some like gold-plated Sumatran blend or whatever. No, but it's just, it tastes like memories, and it tastes like youth. That's what it feels like. It tastes like I'm still in my 20s. What are you doing, puppy? Good old Titus Alexander scrounging around for stuff. What you? Come here. Come here. Come here. What? No cracker. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one more. One more. Yes. That's all for now. Get down. Get down. But yeah, so like I said, just feeling a bit. I felt a bit somber, and I couldn't sleep. But it's also because I've been kind of angry about stuff. I mean, ask anyone that knows me, they say, "Well, that's a given. That's a usual. That's why I have this." So there's something in particular that's been bothering me, and like I said, I'm not going to talk about Washington, not today, because trust me, there will probably be a lot of that in the future. So not today. A lot of other people are covering all the fuckery that happened. Not me. Not today. However, I do have an issue with something else going on. I'm sure everyone knows there's a big situation going on in Southern California with the wildfires, and it's bad. It's getting more under control by the day, but it's still bad. And there's a lot of stuff happening, and it's rough. It's rough for a lot of people. And it's strange to see contrasting sides on things. And it's strange to see reactions from some people. What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to play two contrasting clips, and I'm going to jump in here and there. And I don't want to get a copyright strike from any of the networks involved in the stuff that I'm going to play. So as is, I'm going to put up a still frame of the person speaking and play the audio over it and chime in when I need to. So you may hear a pause and you may still see the still image, but it's me talking, yada, yada, whatever. I don't need a copyright strike because Lord knows these corporations, these mega corporations love to do that to the little guy. So what I want to start with is the broadcast from January 13th. So a little over a week ago. A week. Well, a week ago. From Jimmy Kimmel Live. And I'm just, like I said, I'm going to put up a still frame. I'll let it play. The frame that I have with Kimmel, it has the link below to help to donate towards these things, which would be nice, if you can. If there was a Q code, I would have put that up too, but let's just go with that for now. But let me see here. Let me just I'm going to turn off that. And we're going to go over here. And I guess this is away we go. Oh, yeah, sharing screen would be good. I'm an idiot. This is what happens when you're a one-man show and you don't have a producer. You got to do everything yourself. Here we go.
It has been a very scary, very stressful, very strange week here in LA, where we work, where we live, where our kids go to school.
And just pay attention, because Kimmel is speaking from the heart right now, and you can tell because he's choked up and he's trying not to be choked up. The last time I saw him like this, and I'm sure there's been other occasions, but the last time I saw him this choked up was the night Don Rickles died. And that, because that was a big influence for him. But this is, he's just, you can tell he's being genuine.
We are back in our studio, which we had to evacuate on Wednesday. That's our building right there, the El Capitan. That is how close this fire was to our theater here. Many of us had to leave our homes in a hurry. Some of our coworkers lost their homes. That's Hollywood. It's been terrible. It's been a terrible. Everyone who lives in the city knows someone, most of us, multiple people, families, friends, colleagues, neighbors whose houses burned down. And the truth is, we don't even know if it's over. We had 100-mile-per-hour winds fueling this nightmare. As of tonight, Their winds are back. I think I speak for all of us when I say it has been a sickening, shocking, awful experience, but has also been, in a lot of ways, a beautiful experience because once again, we see our fellow men and women coming together to support each other. People who lost their own homes were out volunteering in parking lots, helping others who lost theirs. And tonight, I don't want to get into all the vile and irresponsible and stupid things our alleged future president and his gaggle of scumbags chose to say during our darkest and most terrifying hour. The fact that they chose to attack our firefighters, who apparently aren't white enough to be out there risking their lives on our behalf, it's disgusting, but it's not surprising.
And I'd like you to remember that for what I'm going to transition to after this clip.
Instead, I want to focus on thanking those men and women because that's all we should be doing right now. And we should never stop thanking them. That's right. Our firefighters from LA were the first on the scene without hesitation. They were out there putting out the fires as best they could. And then we had firefighters from other states coming in, from Nevada, from Arizona, Texas, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Washington, Northern California, New Mexico, Idaho, Maine. Firefighters came all the way from Maine. We have firemen and women from Mexico, from Canada. And we're very grateful to them. And to our police, our National Guard, our rescue workers, the doctors, the nurses, EMTs, the pilots working 12-hour shifts. Thank God for all of you. And if you want to help these brave individuals with a donation, this is a very good place to start. Support LAFD.org.
And that's the URL you see at the bottom.
And I also want to thank our local news reporters who reminded us how important local television and radio and newspapers are, especially in time. How are you doing, Guillermo?
I'm doing good. Thank God, Jimmy. Thank God.
Guillermo almost had to come live with me. He almost had to evacuate on Thursday night. We had 19 people living with us and 4 dogs. It was unlike anything I have ever experienced.
19 people and 4 dogs. And I know Jimmy Kimmel has his wife and at least 2 kids. So you're talking at least 14 people and their animals that he opened up his house to. That's a genuine person.
Experience. It's so strange to look around your house and go, just have to decide what you want to take and then fight with your kids over what they want to take, because we had to leave a lot of stuffed animals behind. One of our producers, Hera, her family had to evacuate their house. She asked her 8-year-old to pack his most important stuff. This is what she found in his bag: 8 pairs of boxer shorts. And I don't know if you can see that container has all his teeth in it, his baby teeth. He's apparently saving them up for the tooth fairy. It's basically his bank account that he took with him. I think if I had to pack one thing, I was thinking about it, it would probably be my phone. I downloaded that Watch Duty app, which I'd never heard of. And, you know, when you Google Watch Duty, you really have to be careful. You do not know what might come up. That was very helpful. If you've been to this neighborhood before, our neighborhood, you know that Hollywood Boulevard is crawling with people dressed like superheroes. You see, we got Catwoman, we got a lot of Spider-Man. I mean, there are so many Spider-Man after the Spider-Man. And when the fires broke out here, those heroes did nothing. They did not help us at all. But then the real superheroes swooped in, the Aquaman, if you will. And I have to say, watching these pilots drop water from planes, these precision strikes, it is so, I could watch this all day long.
Yeah, and like if I could pull up a clip of this without getting a copyright strike, I would, but just look up the, precision strikes of the California wildfires, because it is a feat to behold if you have not seen it already.
From now on, this is how I want to put out the candles on all my birthday cakes. Remember when hurricanes hit Florida a few months ago and they were saying the Democrats, the far left, secretly controls the rain? Well, I think we finally proved we do not, okay? A lot of big companies stepped up during this time. Our company, Disney, donated $15 million to the relief effort, which is great. Airbnb Airbnb is another great company. They're giving free temporary housing to people who had nowhere to go. Thousands and thousands and thousands of families. The NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the LA Kings, the LA Galaxy, all pitching in, as are so many local restaurants and chefs who work with the World Central Kitchen. Two of those chefs are in the Pacific Palisades right now making meals for emergency responders who are still there working. That is Susan Feniger and Mary Sue Milliken. Hello.
And yeah, so hold on. Sorry, I'm going to try to technical difficulties. Remove. Okay. And it goes on from there. It's I will link the full video down below so you can watch it. Because it's one of the longest monologues I've seen Jimmy Kimmel do. Runs about 18 minutes, but it's very heartfelt and sincere. And even since then, every night he's still talking about, who's doing relief efforts, and he interviews the people. One of the people that was on there, because it became a joke, because they had a local anchor out there, and there was a guy saying, there was a guy there, hoodied up or whatever, and he's like, if you have to evacuate, he's like, leave your keys in your car so someone like me can move your car in case the fire trucks need to get in. And the reporter goes, "What's your name, sir?" And he goes, "My name is Steve Guttenberg." And the actor Steve Guttenberg, and people are like, "Oh my God, blah, blah, blah." It's like Steve Guttenberg, the actor, is out there making sure that people's cars get saved and don't get torched. And then they actually, Kimmel interviewed him, and he was helping like try to put out the little fires so they didn't catch on the houses, and helping save pets and everything. Just genuine people. And I think that's why I couldn't sleep, and I was, and I thought of Derek, because that's the kind of person Derek was. When we had our ceremony, we agreed, we abided by what they call the 9 noble virtues. I'm trying not to get choked up, but it was basically, to be a better person, to do things like that, to help when help is needed. And that's, it's great to see people being able to come together during such a terrible disaster. Terrible. And, how it only, these fires are just there. They were bad in the past. We've seen, things getting worse and worse. The climate change and the droughts and everything, people don't seem to realize that area, SoCal, was built on a desert. Like, that's why, like, they have an issue, the hydrant's running out of water. It's the pressure low. It's the way it is. And you can't use salt water. So some people, it's right on the ocean. Yeah. You can't douse a forest in salt. That's not how that works. Some people failed basic chemistry in middle school. But it's, it really touched my heart to see that. And it gave me a little bit of hope for humanity, to see these volunteers, to see these actors, the Hollywood elites, these people who everyone think, so rich, helping out. Jimmy Kimmel obviously is not a poor man. He's financially comfortable. He opened up his house to people. And he mentioned all the organizations. And some people are like, "Oh yeah, 15 million to drop in the bucket." Like, yeah, it is, but they could have done nothing. The fact that they did, all the places, and it just struck me because he mentioned the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. The LA Dodgers, Major League Baseball. This is what we call a segue. So, of course, it's going to not want to work with me. So I'm going to have to hit refresh. There we go. I know you didn't hear it, but I did it in my headset. So yeah, so segue, as I'm sitting here and I have hope and think about humanity, it's just a light at the end of the tunnel. No liquor today. It's literally like little afternoon. Like it's no liquor. Now what happens is on Saturday, I pull up YouTube on my TV just to peruse stuff because, just putzing around. Now what's amazing is a channel that I'm no longer subscribed to gets put in my recommended viewing. I used to be subscribed to it, but I stopped a while back for some reasons. This is the part where I'm going to get real mad real fast. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you're probably going to get mad too. So, like I said, segue, LA Dodgers. The clip is from this past Friday's episode of Real Time with Bill Maher. His new rules segment at the end of the show. So, once again, I will put up a still frame because I don't need Warner Brothers Discovery copyright striking me. And I'm going to hit play. And I may cut in at times, or I may let it play out. But trust me, I have a lot to say about this. And like I said, so no copyright strike.
Well, we may not be able to do much about the weather, but we do need a better plan for putting out a burning city than waiting for rain. America is so partisan now that even when there's a disaster of any kind, so many people choose to defend their own team, even over death. A lot of Democrats in this one-party state this week went right to, don't blame politicians, you can't do anything about the wind, which is exactly half true, the wind part. Yes, fire is a tough fight out here. And yes, global warming absolutely makes it worse.
So you see, here's where Bill Maher tries to spin it for his own personal gain. You see, yes, he admits that global warming, climate change is real, but he can't leave it alone at that.
But that's largely out of our control. What are we going to do? Pass a ballot measure to make sure Chinese stop burning coal? It's also, yes, undeniably true that LA is built in a stupid place to build a city. But when it's not on fire, it's really quite lovely. And it's my home. And stupid as its origin may be, it's not going anywhere. Axios ran a story on how getting the water out of the hydrants in Pacific Palisades was more complicated than it seems. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this.
And here we go. So he mentions I pay 13% tax. And yes, I'm a homeowner, so I understand 13% is high. I believe they say it's the highest in the country. However, I would like to point out that like Jimmy Kimmel, Bill Maher is not poorly off financially. Bill Maher is a part owner of the fucking LA Dodgers. Bill Maher used to speak for, I'm going to wait. I'm going to keep it going because I'm going to rant.
When asked why so many of the hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water, Governor Newsom said the local folks are trying to figure that out. Yeah, you got to do that before the fire.
You just contradicted yourself by saying it's built on desert, but then you're like, oh, well, they couldn't figure out with the water. It's because it's being piped in from somewhere that's nowhere near there.
At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the 3 reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed. LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years.
Now, listen. Yes, she was in Ghana because that was a scheduled that was something that was scheduled that couldn't be changed that she regretted having to go to. It's not like she was just like, oh, city's on fire, fuck all y'all, I'm out.
Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2 and 11. The mayor said about cuts to the fire department's budget, there were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation. The fire chief here had a slightly different take. She said, we are screaming to be properly funded. And yes, the budget was cut and it did impact our ability to provide service.
Okay, so right here, yes, there's a problem in communication with the bureaucracy. However, you see right now he's defending the fire chief. But wait till he gets going with the backhandedness.
And by the looks of all the fire engines in the boneyard out of service because we didn't fix them, she's right.
I don't think Bill Maher realizes that fire trucks sometimes end up in the boneyard and they can't be fixed but have to be used for parts because fire trucks aren't as mass produced as a fucking Toyota Camry.
Exposed power lines keep causing fires and keep not getting buried underground.
Yeah, and that's due to P&G, who were found guilty for the last wildfires because of a whole thing. You can look it up. There was a whole thing. Vice did a really good expose on it. However, they own the power lines, and it has to be an agreement between the city and the private company to be able to do that. And because of all the deregulation of utilities, they can say fuck all for as long as they want, and the city has to sit there and take it.
Because it's expensive. I've heard people say, do you want to pay more taxes to fund this? No. I want you to use the exorbitant taxes you already collect to prioritize it.
I don't want to pay more taxes. I'm a multimillionaire, but I don't want to pay more. You are a fucking... I'm going to wait.
The power lines that cut through Topanga weren't upgraded because it endangered an herb, the milk vetch, which sounds like something they serve at Passover. I mean, talk about not seeing the forest for the trees. You know what the absolute worst thing for the environment is? Wildfires. A 22 study found that the smoke from just the 2 in 2020 wiped out 18 years of carbon reduction in the state, which means we suffered the pain of driving those early model Priuses for nothing.
Oh, such a great little quip. Yeah, God forbid they save a plant that is necessary for the ecosystem. What Bill Maher does not understand is if a plant gets wiped out and it is the main food source or whatnot for one animal, it's something called the fucking food chain.
California is the place that spends money and gets nothing, which is why you may have noticed when the fires broke out, no one escaped by high-speed rail. We have the highest marginal tax rate in America, higher than almost all other states, and soon Greenland.
And mind you, this is a guy bitching where I live in Connecticut, which is the most taxed state in the country.
What is included for that? Breadsticks? Because it clearly doesn't cover fire. That's government's job. Protect us from crime, violence, theft, fire. I'm not saying Alabama would have done better with fires by fighting them with prayer in school. But look me in the eye and tell me anyone could have done worse. We just got our ass kicked by fire, something Neanderthals fought to a tie. The good news is our fire chief is a lesbian.
And here we fucking go. Wait for it. It gets bad, because this is where Bill Maher turns into every other jackwagon on fucking Fox News and Newsmax.
Am I against a lesbian being chief? Of course not. Do I think a lesbian can do the job? Of course I do. And maybe she's the best person for the job. Or maybe they really wanted a lesbian in that job and she's just the best lesbian for the job. And with essential services, that's not good enough. Crowley's official bio says Chief Crowley leads a diverse department, creating, supporting, and promoting a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity while striving to meet and exceed the expectations of the communities. Well,
yeah. So now we're gonna slam dunk on DEI. Why? Because I'm rich and I'm mad.
Oh, you didn't exceed my expectations. Which was that the whole city wouldn't burn down. But it's telling that diversity is mentioned twice before we get to while striving to meet expectations. Now, can you do two things at once? Yes. But it matters where your head is. Deputy Chief Kristen Larson said this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you.
Which would sound kind of racist if a Southern sheriff said it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's point this out for a second with him saying racist, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if anybody realizes, but there's kind of a history in Southern California of municipal employees being super racist. Do I need to bring up the name Rodney King?
So we should be sending white firefighters to White Houses and black ones to...
No, that's not what they fucking said, jackass.
Who teaches people this bullshit?
Nobody's teaching people this bullshit. You're equating a false fucking narrative.
No one cares what someone looks like when they're pulling you out of a burning house.
And here you are thinking it's just fucking firefighters when they were talking about all municipal employees, EMTs, firefighters, police officers.
Larson also seems to believe that if a female firefighter can't pick up a man, it's his fault. She said, he got himself into the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire. Well, tell that to these guys. Because who pays the highest price when politicians don't prioritize basic services? The first responders, our heroes, who every time go above and beyond because they have to, because we leave it all to them. Now, is wokeness the main reason for the fires? Of course not. But it's also not wrong to associate some of the unforced errors our government made with the things normies see as hallmarks of uber-progressive politics: questionable budget priorities, high taxes that get you nothing, making everything about identity politics, virtue signaling overseas instead of tending to the nuts and bolts at home. Cali has no shortage of safety commissions and agencies and bureaucrats and regulators, and of course, sign language interpreters who communicate with their face.
Yeah, let's just dig on deaf people now while you're at it. If I could show you this part of the clip, I would. It literally, there's no fucking reason for it. He's just dunking on fucking translators.
But common sense, we better get some of that back soon, because wildfires in California are like boob jobs in a strip club. Inevitable, and they're only going to get bigger.
Get his fucking mug off my goddamn. I'm sorry you had to look at it that long. And all of my hope goes out the fucking window because of Bill fucking Maher. And here's the thing, growing up, I was paying attention. I was a fan of Bill Maher when I was young. He was one of the he was one of the comedians that like made me actually look into things going on like in the world, in politics, like to look into keeping informed. He was actually one of the people that did it because because of Politically Incorrect. When that was on before it got canceled, and then even with Real Time when it was first on. But the problem is, over the years, Bill Maher used to be a progressive person. He used to point out all the errors of the Republican Party long before it became the party of the morons that it is now. He was speaking out against all the bullshit Reagan was doing. So he keeps going now, and he keeps moving, and now he's done this so long, and he's been in the pocket of Warner Brothers Discovery now, because they're the owners now of HBO and everything that broadcasts him. But this is a guy who went from having to work the comedy clubs and having to pound the pavement, and okay, you made it, and then you get this, and now years later, now you're a fucking 1%er. Now you're a multimillionaire who owns stake in a Major League Baseball team, and your views have changed because now you don't want to pay your fucking fair share. This is the whole, all the years of the rich don't want to pay their fair share. Now you're there. You're bitching about 13% tax. Go suck a dick, motherfucker. Because I guarantee, because of the tax bracket you're in, and with the jackasses who have been in office on and off, you are one of the people that's in those fucking brackets of more tax cuts so that people like me have to pay more. You own partially still, you're on the board of directors that owns a fucking baseball team, and not just any fucking team, the team with the biggest fucking salary right now, because look left and right, and all these motherfuckers are getting signed to giant ass amounts. But you're complaining about, I don't get this and I don't get that. You're sitting here bitching and then backhandedly bitching about DEI. DEI has nothing to fucking do with this. And the fact that you want to pull in and be like, oh, yeah, well, maybe they're just the best lesbian for the job or whatever. Okay, and then you want to sit there and call them racist. Okay, I want you to take the statement that Bill Maher made about, I'm not saying a woman can do it, blah, blah, blah. Replace the word woman with black or Hispanic and run that back. Bill Maher is a fucking hypocrite, and he's a fucking asshole. People like Jimmy Kimmel are opening up their homes. Bill Maher leads a sad, sad life alone. And lately, he's been getting dunked on by every fucking person he does his little podcast with the fucking cigar and the fucking whiskey and shit. Every person he has on has been fucking dunking on him. Why? Because he has lost touch. He is a fucking filthy, rich 1%er who is greedy as fuck now, who doesn't want to pay his fair share. He'll sit there and tell you about how this was the golden age back in the 50s, and that was when the rich were paying a higher tax bracket, and that was a golden age. But now, oh no, no, that's not me. No. Oh, but don't worry, I hate the guy in the White House right now, so I'm not a Republican, motherfucker. This is why I've never fucking, like I've said before, I don't subscribe to party lines. I have always been an independent voter. I am not registered to either major party. But this motherfucker sits here wanting to toe the fucking line and be like, oh no, well, it's and I'm sorry, but the moment you start using the word woke as an insult, you're on the wrong side of the fucking road, bro. You want to sit here and complain and be like, oh, well, this, that, the other, and I understand that these really, a lot of these aren't even your thoughts. These are the thoughts of your writers. Let's not even get into that, how you had fucking scabs working for you during the writer's strike, which shows how much of a piece of shit you are. But you sign off on this, you agree with it. Also, like I said, I used to watch Real Time. There was one of I never missed it. And then I started watching to see who his fucking guests started becoming. And it's like, okay, you want to be balanced sometimes. I get that. You want to show two sides of the thing. But then you start having people like fucking Steve Bannon on your show. Fuck you. You let the crackpots on, and then you expect to still be taken seriously. Suck a fucking dick, Bill Maher. I can't believe it. I can't. It boils my fucking blood. It does. The man is he's such a fucking hypocrite. And he's just, I can't. I fucking can't. The world around you is on fire and you're bitching about a 13% tax rate. Fuck you. I guarantee if there was something where the owners all decided to open up the fucking stadium to fucking, to shelter people or whatever, I guarantee you'd be bitching about that. You would be Joel Osteen in that situation going, no, lock the doors. I can't fucking believe it. I can't. Like I said, this is a guy I used to watch all the fucking time because he had a forward-thinking perspective. Ain't that way anymore. Like I said, you're using the word woke as a fucking insult. You're using DEI as an insult. You're using the word progressive as an insult. You're going to sit here and bitch where you even said along the way, oh, well, the fire chief said this and the mayor said this, but then you blame the mayor for this and blah, 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 blah. This is something that goes all the way up the chain. You're going to sit there and talk about how there's all these committees and blah, 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 and government overreach, because that's what you're getting at. That's the main GOP fucking talking point, is too much government. When you don't understand that the reason that California, forward-thinking California, the reason they keep putting in all these commissions is because they're doing what they can, because federally so much shit has gotten deregulated over the past 50 fucking years that they have to try to grasp what they can to keep a hold on shit, because crony capitalists are fucking everything up. Like I said, P&G Electric caused the last big wildfires in Northern California because of one fucking lock on a fucking power line that was supposed to be replaced. It's like a fucking $5 fucking part, and people just kept signing off, and it was like 25 years past its fucking holding thing, and it rusted away to nothing. Boom, spark, boom, wildfires. That's a private company. That was their responsibility. But the government can only do so much to keep an eye on them. And if you're going to keep bitching about government, then you know something? why don't you, why don't you do something about it? Instead of sitting there, just collecting your fucking checks to bitch about how you have to pay more time. Why don't, how about you go to a fucking, how about you talk to your local fucking politicians? And I mean more than the mayor. I mean, talk to your fucking state Congress and Senate. Do something about it. Talk to them. Take a fucking take a fucking lesson from other fucking actors, other fucking, other entertainers who get involved in local politics to try to make things better. Instead of being the cranky old man saying, "Get off my lawn." We need more Steve Gutenbergs and less Bill Mahers. It fucking baffles me. And I honestly hope, because it's gotten so, I honestly hope that fucking WBD during the next round of cuts looks at things and goes, you know something? Real time's been on for 25 years. I think it's time we put that baby to bed. Because what good is he? What good has he done? Literally, we have so many fucking off-kilter bullshit news outlets now that are just pushing fucking hypocritical, fucking hateful shit. Fox News was bad enough. Now you got Fox News, you got Newsmax, you got OAN, and Bill Maher's right there fucking with them. You want to see a fucking stark contrast, not only between the two things that I played today, but look at the stark contrast going, in your regular season, going from Friday to Sunday. You see Bill Maher, and then you see John Oliver. John Oliver, dual citizen, loves this country, does what he can, speaks about things, talks about what the problems are, and then literally at the end says, this is what you can do to work on these problems. There's even times where he will use money and donate something or do some, he'll do some wacky stuff, but then he'll, buy something weird, but then he'll auction it off and he'll give that money to a charity of this, that, and the other thing. It's such a stark contrast, and John Oliver gets a hell of a lot more viewers than Bill Maher. There's a reason that there's something called the John Oliver effect that's been happening for years. There's no such thing as the Bill Maher effect. You know why? Because Bill Maher is a cranky old fuck who is mad that he fucking makes fucking boatloads of fucking money now and has to pay a little more in taxes, which he doesn't even have to fucking do. He hit that high tax bracket and he sits there and he's like, "Oh, I'm getting taxed so much because every time I have a shareholders meeting at the Dodgers and we have to raise the price of this, blah, blah, blah." Motherfucker, no one told you to fucking buy into a goddamn baseball team. You chose to do that. You had to be a fucking 1%er. You had to be a fucking mogul. Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. I think that's all I got. I think I was able to vent enough. I'm still pissed. And I mean, make your own decisions on it. I'm just one guy. I just do this because, as it is called, this is my catharsis. That's why I do it. I will link the videos below. I don't want to, but I will link the Bill Maher video along with the Jimmy Kimmel video. I will also put the link to the donations site for Jimmy Kimmel, because you notice Jimmy Kimmel actually put up 2 donations sites. So I will put both of those down below for you to view. Did Bill Maher do that? No. Didn't mention a goddamn thing. Just sat there on his high fucking horse. Didn't say, oh, by the way, here's how you can donate to this. Here's how you can help this out. No. Just bitch about a 13% tax rate and bitch about DEI hires and bitch about lesbians being on the fucking fire force. Fuck you. Taking clips, taking quotes out of context. Oh, if I can't carry out a guy, he got himself in that situation. There was more to that quote. And I don't think you realize, but to be a firefighter, there's physical tests that you have to pass. They don't just hire you for the fuck of it. But that doesn't fit the narrative. No, it doesn't fit the narrative. So, yeah. That's all I got. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep circling back to the same points over and over again. But I got out what I needed to get out. I commend people like Jimmy Kimmel and Steve Guttenberg. They live lives of true virtue, of courage, of nobility. That's something that me and Derek strive to do. Make the world a better place. Do what you can for your fellow man. Do the right thing. I miss you, brother. Be more like them. Be better. Donate to the LA stuff if you can. I know we all can't. We all don't have the extra cash, but if you can, please do so. There's people that lost everything. And there's other people that are doing what they can. It's a hard time. But just be good to each other. Don't be the old man on the porch saying, "Get off my lawn." Be the one saying, here's an extra jacket, here's an extra blanket, here's a hot meal. I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to have a beer. Wait till this was done before I crack it open. Toast to my brother. Once again. Hail the traveler. Thank you. This has been my Catharsis. My name's Joseph J. Alexander. You can find my socials right there on the bottom left. I'm on Twitter, JJ_Alexander, and I'm on Blue Sky at just JJ Alexander. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on the next one.